Hey folks, this is Bryce here from Wet Sounds. In today's workshop, we're going to cover how to step-by-step install your Wet Sounds Harley-Davidson audio kits for Road Glide and Street Glide.
So we'll start by removing the windshield. There's 4 screws across the front. Set these aside. And on this bike, this is an 1/8 inch Allen wrench. Some may vary depending on what windshield you have and hardware. We remove the top panel of the fairing. And we will remove the 2 lower bolts on the inside of the fairing, which are T25 Torx. Do not need to remove the ones above it. That will actually hold this vent in place. Okay, now we'll remove the stock speaker grills. Just pry on the inside. There's 2 clips in there. And a hook tab on the outside, so don't pry on the outside. Remove the 2 3/16 Allen bolts on both marker lights. Now we remove the harness for the turn signals at the top of the fairing on each side. Now at this point, the only thing holding the fairing on is the 2 T25 Torx next to the speaker. So if you stand in front of the fairing and hold it, you can remove these. If you stand here and hold the fairing, it will not fall on the ground, which is bad. Gently pull forward, fairing will come right off. Now we're going to remove the headlight, which will give us access to all the amplifier space to run our wiring and interface with the factory radio. Remove this factory harness from the bracket. That's free. Now remove the 4 3/16 bolts from the headlight. Kind of tucked up under these wire harnesses. So make sure to hold the headlight so it does not fall. Pull straight out and unplug. Now that we have the fairing and headlight removed, we will unplug the radio and remove the 4 bolts for that, take it out to get better access to mount our amplifiers. Small tab on that one. Just gently pry it up and it'll pop right off. The release on the main harness pushes the plug right out. And remove the 4 3/16 Allen bolts for the radio. up and out. So now we're going to remove the factory speakers. 4 T25 Torx bolts in each one. So in the kit, you have a template to clearance the pod for the magnet of the speaker. And we also have a piece of sound dampening to seal it once we get the speaker installed. The template lines up, there's a left and right, but it lines up right along with these two body lines. And this indent indicates where that screw is. So we will peel that off and stick it on. And center our 2-inch hole saw in the circle. Move the template. Now we can install the speaker. We install the connectors on the speaker. Note that your factory Harley wiring, the larger connector is the positive. Slide that on. Using the flush cuts, take this little plastic nub off of there so the speaker can sit flush. All right, now we're going to assemble our amplifier rack. The kit comes with a 2-channel for your saddlebag speakers and a 4-channel for the remainder of the speakers, the fairing, lowers, and tour pack. We will start with the 4-channel, the WSSP 4100. This is our amplifier bracket. And then your amplifier bracket, this part installs up under the radio, so that your amplifiers hang underneath. And we'll start with the 4-channel on this portion. That way, if you just do, say, a front kit and add 6x9s later, you can add it on the portion you can access easier. So you just flip the amplifier over. There's 2 mounting holes there. Okay, and before we mount the amplifier, we have 2 sets of foam isolator pads. We'll run right in these grooves. A 2-channel as well. Now we have the foam gaskets installed. We will install the 4-channel amplifier, WSSP 4100, on the front of the bracket that goes under the radio. As you can see, these amplifiers don't have mounting tabs. The screws mount directly to the bottom of the amp. And use our hardware here, just a 3mm Allen bolt. And the 2-channel amplifier that powers the 6x9s will be installed after we mount this bracket into the motorcycle. And now we're going to mount that amplifier into the bike. It mounts directly under where the OEM radio mounts. And now we'll mount the 2-channel amplifier in the front of the bracket. Now that the amplifier bracket is mounted, we can put the factory radio back into the bike. Now we can start wiring the T-harness for the factory radio. Just plugs directly in like the OEM plug, and this is the cable locking it. And the other end locks directly into the original radio plug. Kind of gonna have a little bit of extra wire, so you just bundle it up and tuck it away next to the radio. Off of the T-harness, you will have 3 connectors, which are your front speakers, lowers, and rear speakers. We will plug those into the 4-channel amplifier. This bike does not have lowers, so this harness will just be tied up. And then we'll grab the harness for the 6x9s and the power harness. Now we'll run the amplifier power harness and the 6x9 harness through the neck of the motorcycle. The power plug will plug in at each amplifier. These are keyed, so you can't plug them in wrong. And the 6x9 harness will plug into the 2-channel amplifier. Pull back any extra slack. Now we'll plug in the output from the DSP harness, which will plug into the 2-channel and the 4-channel. The 2-channel will be the smaller plug, and the 4-channel is the larger. This output is not currently used. It is for possible subwoofers output from the DSP harness. And we're done here for now. We will run the wires down the back of the bike and finish the rear of it. To remove the gas tank, plug your fuel pump harness. And there's 2 drains. This one will have to be cut free and zip tied down the other side. Fueling in the bottom of the tank right here, just push up on the silver collar. Move to the front of the tank, pull the rubber caps off the front bolt. Now the tank's ready to come off. We just lift straight up. Wind your harnesses back here. And pull it off. And now we'll remove the battery cover to access the battery terminals. Let's pull up and slide forward. And now we'll connect the positive battery terminal. Negative. The fuse holder can be tucked right in front of the battery. Now we will move on to the saddlebag harness. And now we'll move to routing the saddlebag harness. And each of these is labeled with a left and a right on the heat shrink. So we will remove both side covers and the saddlebags. And set the saddlebag aside. Side cover just pops right off. So on the left side of the bike, to get this connector through, we will just loosen up the fuse box. Take out the 3 half-inch bolts. Route that behind the fuse box and through the frame. Install the bolts. And now we will zip tie the cable up with the factory cables on this side. Make sure not to leave too much slack so it does not get caught in your belt. There may not be a harness on this side, so just tie to this factory harness mount. And then we can reinstall the side covers. Okay, now that we have both those harnesses around, we can replace the battery cover. Okay, now we're going to wire the saddlebag. This is the wire harness with the bulkhead connector that we'll drill holes for. We have a provided template. Obviously on this one there is a vent for the saddlebag, so it's okay to adjust it slightly if you need to. So normally this would line up with that grommet and right under those bolts, but there is interference with that, so we will just adjust it just as long as you're on a nice flat surface. Right next to it. Drill the 2 smaller holes. Those are 11/64 drill bit. And we have provided in the kit a hole saw to do the center hole. If you mount the plug with the tap side up, that will make it easier to disconnect when removing your saddlebags. And now we can put both saddlebags back on the bike. Refasten the hardware and plug it in. Now we will start our saddlebag lid installation. These are the templates we will use to cut them out. And we'll now go mount them up and get them cut out. Okay, now to start the saddlebag lid installation, first I'm going to remove the bag tether so that we don't cut it while we're installing. Cut the bag lids while it's on the bike so it doesn't move around, makes it much easier. Line up our template, get it nested right against this lip. Place the template on the bag and drill the pilot hole for the first screw. Now we'll switch from the 1/8 inch bit to a 5/16. I can drill in each of these round sections. And you can keep your drill bit tight against the rounded portion. You don't have to drill every one. I usually drill around every other, just enough to get your bit in, or your saw blade. Take our jigsaw and cut tight against the inside line. So now we have the lid cut. We're going to file these edges smooth. Once we're done with that, we will run our wire harness, fasten that, connect the 6x9 clamshell, screw that down, and we'll be good to go. So each side will come with 8 screws. There are 2 different lengths. The shorter ones hold the 6x9 to the clamshell. The longer hold the clamshell together with the grill. So we'll start with the long ones. Slide the grill into place. And now we'll mount the 6x9 with the plug facing the rear of the saddlebag. And using our shorter screws for that. Now we will put the saddlebag tether screws back in the lid. And next we'll fasten the harness. Okay, using the supplied alcohol wipe in the kit, clean off this front side of the bag so the zip tie tie downs can stick. 3 of these in each bag. Make sure that clicks into place. That bag is done. So now we're going to install our DSP module with the 2 connectors in the kit and install the rubber grommets into this panel. If you carefully use a flathead screwdriver to get the grommet down into the connector. Now that we have the bike on, we open our app, to Bluetooth connection, scan for devices. The app will flash a factory radio to a flat earth, and then on the right you select which system you're installing. So we are Road Glide with no lower fairing speakers. Once you configure your kit, you'll hear the audio mute and come back on, click lockdown, and that will save. All right, so now we'll install the lower fairing speakers with our Moto grills. Just like the tour pack on this bike, it did not have this harness, so you will have spade connectors instead of this Amphenol. Now we're going to start the install of our rear tour pack pods. These are a complete replacement for the OEM Harley ones. If your tour pack is not drilled for holes, this can be used as a template. Just slide it in the back and drill from the back side. So if you have existing speaker pods, that should all be done. If you do have the hand controls on the side of the pods, these are the templates to cut them. This bike does not have them, so will not be used today. This bike did not come factory with rear speakers, so this wire harness is going to be unique compared to what you have in your bike. You'll just have the regular spade terminals. Now we'll plug in the speaker. You will have standard spade terminals with your OEM wiring, so it'll be a little bit different than this and just be the normal connectors.
Thanks for tuning in to today's workshop. If you want to find out more information, head on over to wetsounds.com.